Welcome to Shop Foreman Garage. Today we are looking at this 2023 Sorento, and it has a weird thing going on. No need to adjust your set. It's dark. You know, it's rainy season here. But anyway, this has a noise that's going on. Did you hear that? Can you hear it? It's a ghost noise. There's a noise that goes on whenever the customer turns the vehicle off, take their keys, leave it parked in the garage, and every once in a while there's a clicking noise going on inside this vehicle. It just randomly. Actually, it's about 12.7 seconds. Every 12.7 seconds, I timed it. So there's a noise in there. We have to figure that out. It's a ghost. More ghosts. Great. Oh no. Look at all this beautiful foliage, all this green grass, weeds, whatever it is. And never mind the equipment and stuff, but all this field of greenness. You know, it's that time of season. You know, it's real spring. You know, rather than fake spring. Eventually, you know, we'll get into summer, real summer, and then, you know, Hell's Gate. That's the way it is here in Texas. And all this is, you know, at the end of the summer, you know, I'll come around October, whatever, this is gonna all be dead. This is just all be brown because it's raining right now, and later on it's gonna be a drought, and then everything dies. That's just the way it is here in Texas. Yeah, let's get into this thing. Let's find out what the heck this noise is. This sounds like the throttle body and then a relay. And the vehicle's off. It's been off for a while. And they just keep cycling. I don't know which relay it is, but that definitely sounds like the throttle body. Okay, this is what I am dealing with right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get that mirror straightened out. We're looking into the throttle body right there, and you can see it moving every once in a while, just like that. So somehow some circuit is staying powered up, or is shorting to power or something. For some reason that relay keeps kicking off and this throttle body keeps kicking over. Gonna have to get into the wiring schematic. The vehicle is off, engine's off, keys off, yet it just keeps doing this over and over. And this is what the customers complain about, is clicking noises under the hood with the vehicle off. So gonna get into the wiring schematic right now. Okay, so I found out that if I disconnect this connector right here, I pull it up, this will stop clicking and the throttle body will stop moving, but that way down in there, I don't know if you can hear it, right there. It is making a buzzing noise every once in a while. That is the TMM. It's a integrated thermal management module is what they call it. Basically, it's like a coolant control module. I believe operates the thermostat. It's the electronic thermostat. So that thing is still moving. So it probably has nothing to do with this right here. This is probably an effect of what's causing that, and everything relates back to the PCM. So I don't know if there's something in the PCM staying on, but we're gonna have to dive deeper into this and try and figure out what's going on. Okay, this is what I found out. The throttle body is jumping like we've seen, and we got relays clicking over here, and we got the valve down there clicking and stuff. Right under here, the customer's vehicle, in the IPM instrument panel module, you see this right here, this wire, this red wire right here, goes down, turns into a blue wire. And it goes up underneath here. The customer has some accessories. And I noticed this right here, that looks like a bass boost, maybe an amp or something in the vehicle. So if I disconnect this right here, and it's going into what they call spare. So come out and look at this. And it's not doing it anymore. So it's feedbacking power somehow through this module. And if I plug it back in, okay, and then check it, and I can already hear it. So that's clicking, and then this is going to click. So this right here is also another wire. This is the wire that's going into the cabin right there, and the customer has installed this. This must be something they're using for power all the time. And if I disconnect this, pull this fuse out, then everything stops. So what it's doing is it's feedbacking power from this thing right here, and it's looping back into this connector somehow. I don't know exactly how they have this thing set up, but it's somehow looping back into this, and then it's putting power into the IPM, which is keeping the vehicle alive when it shouldn't be. It is keeping everything awake. So another thing that I noticed, just kind of weird, let me stick this fuse back in here. As soon as I stick it in, I can hear it. Oh, get in there. Okay, so another thing I noticed, I don't know if it'll do it again, I would turn the key on. Sometimes this power steering would just come on by itself. It's not doing it right now. But that's the issue with this thing right here. The customer has installed some kind of accessory that's actually feeding back through the system, and it's causing it to stay alive. Whenever you turn the vehicle off, that throttle body should regulate itself, and it does a calibration every single time you turn the vehicle off. And usually you turn the vehicle off and you wait a couple seconds, you'll hear it click, 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 and then that's it. Shouldn't do it anymore. But for some reason it's staying. Well, we know why. It's because of that connector that the customer put into the instrument panel module. And because of that, it just continues to do that calibration over and over and over. Probably draining the battery down, maybe not, depends, but can't be good for it to just be doing that all the time. So I'm going to contact the customer, get that stuff disconnected, and they can figure out a better way of hooking that up. But that solves that mystery. and that's why the customer came in. It also has a couple recalls, so we got the vehicle here, we might as well do the recalls. So let me just tell you what I think has gone on with this vehicle. I had to kind of write my own schematic because there's no schematic for what the customer did. But this is the instrument panel module, our ICU junction box. And it sits under the dash, and it has all of the fuses and stuff in, fuses and relays and everything. So this circuit right here comes on, it's hot and on or start. So when the key is on, and what I believe is the customer is looking for a power source when the key is on. And so you see all these fuses, they tie into this circuit coming in. So I just tied this one. There is no schematic that shows spare fuses. You know, I mean, that makes sense. Why show spare fuses? So the spare that was in there was a 7.5 amp. And the customer took it out and they tied into this. So they did have a fuse in there. I think it was a 10 amp. I'm not exactly sure. But this is what I believe is happening. So they're tied into this circuit right here, and they're going down to an amp. We know they have an amp, and I don't know exactly where it is. It's buried somewhere, and I'm not sure exactly how it hooks up, but this is kind of typical for an amp. You have a switched power coming in. You also have a constant power, and the customer has this constant power coming from the positive terminal of the battery, and they have a fuse in there. I can't remember, I think it was a 30 amp fuse. And then of course you have a ground. Sometimes amps will have another circuit coming off, a trigger circuit that will go to the audio unit. So when the audio unit turns on, it turns the amp on. Or maybe the customer is using this signal right here to turn the amp on. I'm not exactly sure. But what's happening is whenever you turn the vehicle off, this power right here is feedbacking through this amp back through this circuit, and it is powering this circuit. It's powering all of these, all of this on. It's powering it all on, and of course it's powering back to the main junction box underneath the hood, and it is getting back to the PCM. It's keeping the PCM alive, and that PCM staying alive, that's what's called, or staying awake, or however you want to call it, that's what's causing the issue with the throttle body moving. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other circuits in there that are just staying awake the whole time because of that feedback through there. So it's not, there's nothing wrong with tapping into an extra circuit in your instrument panel module or your fuse box or something like that. Just be careful what you tap in to where, and how your system works. There may be a problem with the amp, and maybe that's why it's feedbacking through, or maybe the customer just doesn't have it hooked up correctly. Either way, we know power is getting back through that circuit and staying alive whenever it shouldn't be. And so that's what's causing it. So just be careful about what you plug into where and how your equipment works. Any kind of aftermarket equipment that you plug in. Make sure that you know how it works and what it's going to do to your system. In this case, you would think that the customer would understand that this didn't start happening until after they plugged the system in. But if the amp is bad, if there's something wrong with it, you know, maybe they've had this plugged in for a long time and the amp just went bad, so now it's just feedbacking. So either way, the customer's going to know what's causing it now, and they can address that issue because it's aftermarket equipment, and they'll figure it out. Well, that's going to pretty much do it. This vehicle had 2 recalls, and I had to order parts for both of them, and the customer's going to take their vehicle, so they'll bring it back at another time when the parts come in. One of the recalls was for a camera, the rear camera bracket. So the bracket that holds the rear camera in place, I guess it gets brittle over time from the heat and stuff, and it will kind of break, and then your camera's just like dangling, you know, in the back there. But I haven't actually seen one break and fall out like that. But we've been having to replace those. So it's a recall for replacing them with a newer style bracket that won't break, and of course that's on order. And the other one is for this right here. You see this label is torn right there, and these I guess were made out of incorrect material, or some of them are not placed on correctly or something, and they'll start to come off like that. So you're supposed to just rub your finger over this 3 times, and if it starts to come off, then you need to replace the entire visor. And this one is perfectly fine. So I ordered this visor right here, and when that part comes in, I'll be replacing that one too. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, this vehicle only had 28,000 miles on it. It's still fairly brand new, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So that's going to do it for Shop Foreman Garage and World Car Auto Group. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.